Right now at 6, a shocking recording of a speech allegedly made at the L.A. Police Academy. And now the LAPD confirms an investigation into the circumstances surrounding that recording. Now, part of the conversation was about shooting and killing off-duty officer Kevin Gaines.
Street name Honey Oil.
Veteran LAPD Detective Frank Lyga interviewed about a drug case 3 months ago. LAPD Internal Affairs is now investigating the allegation. The voice you will hear on the following recording is also Detective Lyga, discussing his conversation with a lawyer about a fatal shooting.
Is Carl Douglas hit me up? He goes, did you intend to shoot him? I said, I hit him, didn't I?
It's asserted that the recording was made at the Los Angeles Police Academy last fall during a session at which Lyga spoke to a room full of officers.
And he leans forward again. He goes, you regret shooting him? I says, no, I regret that he's alone in the truck at the time. I could have killed a whole truckload of them. And would have been happily doing it.
Well, I was teaching the academy class. I was the search warrant instructor for years at detective school and supervisor school. I taught every detective on how to prepare a search warrant and every supervisor on their supervisory responsibilities at a search warrant scene. And 3/4 of the way through, the class is 2 hours long. 3/4 of the way through, a couple officers came up to me with the book Labyrinth and wanted me to sign the book and wanted to ask questions. I said, yeah, when we're done, ask me some questions, no problem. We finished the class and I said, all right, what do you want to hear? And I don't want to name names, but apparently, and if you listen to the tape, I'm sorry that tape was made, but I got accused of being a racist rant with sexism and all this other crap. They determined there was no race involved in that tape. I swore. And was I insubordinate calling a captain or two sergeants incompetent and stupid? Absolutely I am. I did that. All right. There was no race involved. There was no sex involved. There was no homophobia involved. None of that crap. And that came out in the Board of Rights. That was all came out in the Board of Rights. But if you listen to the tape, there's no race involved at all.
I think what rubbed people the wrong way was I would have killed a whole carload.
Oh,
like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, that's it. Well, that was what they were saying. Could have killed a carload of them. I said, what I meant by that is I'm sitting in traffic, minding my own business, and I got a gang member flashing gang signs, pointing a gun at me. And at the time, I could have killed, if there was 4 gang members in the car pointing guns at me, guess how many 4 gang members I would have shot that day? Right? Got nothing to do with race. Got nothing to do with, it could have been purple. Got nothing to do with anybody. I'm talking gang members pointing guns at people in traffic. And that's exactly what it meant. I could have killed a whole carload of them. And that's exactly what that was meant.
Did you do anything about, because that would not have been a legal recording.
Right.
California's a two-part
That's right.
state. So did you?
There was nothing no one would do. I tried, no one would do anything. I was the scapegoat. I was the racist. I was the racist killer. They've been trying to get rid of me for years. Although, ironically, they're trying, I'm so bad. I killed this guy in 1997. I worked till 2014. That's 17 years. Not only did I continue to work for 17 years, I was put in specialized units and I won federal awards. In 2012, I won the National Hider Award for the largest seizure of PCP in the history of the world. Nobody's ever going to beat that award because I got almost 12 to 1,500 gallons of chemicals to manufacture and 130 gallons of finish. That's never going to happen again because the gangsters don't cook like that. They cook, it's pre-ordered, they cook to order now. They don't cook large scale. That ain't never going to happen again. But I won the Hider Award. I won the Director Award for LA Impact. I won Officer of the Year two times or 3 times. I won an award from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California. I teach periodically for LA HIDA. Like I said, I'm the national PCP expert. And I've got a 4 or 8 hour class I teach on manufacturing PCP for in-service law enforcement personnel. And some writer, journalist contacted the director of the task force about 2 weeks ago and wanted to know if they were aware that I was fired from LAPD and that I was a racist and I made racist, homophobic, and all this other complaints. And the guy goes, "Are you crazy?" And like I said, I wasn't fired from LAPD. I retired honorably. My ID says honorably retired from Los Angeles Police Department as a detective. I have an open invitation to teach anytime I want to all over the country. I teach all over the country periodically because you never know who you're meeting. You never know who's going on. It died down, but now since Tupac is coming up in all your podcasts, I get recognized. And when I get recognized, number one, I don't know where you know me from. Do I know you from the street? Do I know you from the gym? Do I know you? Did I arrest you? I got no idea. And then there's people that, I know who you are, I know what you are, all this crap. That goes on all the friggin' time. It's been going on for 27 years. And he says, at the time, back then, I was afraid of my kids. I had young kids. My oldest son was 3 years old, and my youngest son was 1 year old. I was scared to death. I searched my truck, I checked, I had tape on my hood, on my doors. I looked underneath my truck every night because I wasn't allowed to park on the city parking lot. I had to park on the street. It was tough. I go to court like I was going to the OK Corral. And then they sent me to Majors to get me out of the street, which was comical. They didn't want me to have public contacts, so they sent me to Major Violators, more surveillance and more high-end investigative. The very first case I did in Major Violators, I did the very first case of GHB, gamma hydroxybutyrate, in the state of California, which made big news. The date rape drug. I did the very first case in the state, which made news. And then I've done a lot of high-profile cases. I put a lot of people in jail, high-profile cases. So that kind of backfired on them. But again, all I wanted to do is just leave me alone, let me go to work. I don't want a lawsuit. I don't want to file complaints. I don't want to complain against anybody. I just want to be left alone and let me do my job. And if I'm so bad, I was allowed to work for 17 years in a specialized unit within a specialized unit, and I won a whole bunch of state and federal awards doing it. Gangster cops, there's tons of them. There's tons of gangster cops playing out there. Whether they're real gang members or they're just pretending to be gang members, they're out there.
Sheriff's department's constantly having issues with gangs within the department.
They're out there.
Yeah.
And as for your question about if I have a theory of who killed Biggie, I thought gangs killed Biggie forever.